little bit about where you think you are versus where you want it to be with your business.
Okay, so we had originally set goals last year for what our projections would be for the end of 24. Obviously along the way, we've learned things, we've had to adapt, we've had to pivot and make decisions. Some of those were steps back to get forward. I think we're on track and where we need to be right now.
Okay.
Obviously, you always want it to be better, but I think we're really getting our go-to-market strategy figured out and we're moving the company in the right direction finally.
How, like when you were making those pivots, how did you know you needed to make those pivots? Like, was there a defining moment? Was there, you know, a decision that you made that just didn't play out? And I'm not talking about like a real tactical, but at a big picture, you know, when you said you pivoted, how did you know to do that?
Well, I mean, you know, there was different scenarios that we knew we had to pivot. Obviously, just by simply trying something so many times and realize it doesn't work, you can't continue to try the same thing over and over. It's like, okay, this clearly is not working. We have to make a decision and pivot to find something that will work. And you know, we tried to hire salespeople from a different industry that we thought would be a perfect fit because we're selling into food service, and it just ended up not being the right fit. So we pivoted, you know. We've also tried different verticals. We went after smaller restaurant businesses and turned out that they weren't as inclined to, you know, install our software, whereas we found out schools is a huge vertical. You know, they spend a lot of time away from their product. You know, holidays, nights, weekends, they're paying overtime for people to go in there and do these manual temperature logs. So, you know, that's a vertical that works.
Let me get a copy for you, Marshall. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Yeah, and let's continue that, because I kind of got the impression in talking with you that maybe another challenge that you ran into is that when we started looking at the sales motion, we were selling technology versus value of our solution.
Yeah.
Maybe can you talk a little bit about that and how that transition went?
Yeah, I mean, so right out of the gate, we were trying to sell people on all the bells and whistles and technology, and really what we found is that that's not really exciting to people. What they really want to know is what is the outcome, you know, what is the benefit for me, or what is the value to my organization? What is this tool going to do for us, or solution going to do for us? They don't really care about LoRaWAN and 950 megahertz and all these other things. They want to know, how are you going to help my business? How are you going to save me money? What are you going to do for me? And if you can just touch on those simple points and show them that, then it's much easier to try and get them engaged with your product.
Okay, so based on everything you've learned, what's the one thing that you would share with, you know, I want to start a new software business tomorrow. What would be the one thing you would tell someone that maybe hasn't done it before, but they're going to do it now? What piece of advice would you give them?
I would say surround yourself with people that have experience, because gratefully for me, I have a team of people that have much more experience at it than I do. They've saved me a lot of pitfalls. They've given me knowledge and wisdom, because obviously I didn't come from a software background. I was a chef my entire life. I cooked food and then I sold food. So obviously transitioning into the software industry at the age of 45 was, you know, a big step for me. I couldn't have done it without the team that we had in place.
Yeah, it definitely is a tough business. I guess another question that I'd have for you as a founder. I was coming off, you know, you had a great first quarter, so congratulations on that. Really proud of you and your team. But I guess one of the things that I always found when I was running software companies is that how important resilience is and perseverance. And what I mean by that is, you know, you'll have a day, you know, where you pick up the phone and you make a bunch of calls to people and you don't get anybody. And you're like, is this really going to happen? And then you got to get up the next day and you got to do it all over again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like a roller coaster ride. You have a great week, you're hitting it out of the park and you got all this momentum, And then next week you're like, oh, no one's returning my calls. Like, what's going wrong? And you kind of panic. But it's definitely a roller coaster ride of emotions.
Yeah, what I always found is I'd go like, I'd have a few of those days. And then one day I'd come in, it's like everybody's getting back to me, everything. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's like it's an adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
That, wow, you know, this is really going to go.
Yeah.
And then you get through all that, and then you feel like, you know, I'm going, I guess, on that downward trajectory.
Yeah.
What's been your challenges about, like, how you think about pipeline development? What's that been like, and how much, like, what's your thinking about to meet your goals? For example, your goals that you have this quarter.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thinking around what kind of pipeline you need to have? What does it look like? How do you get it? What's your thoughts around that?
So I think average, you know, every opportunity that you get that comes across your plate, you know, at the beginning is probably around a 20% close rate, you know?
Yeah.
So if we want to close 20 customers this month, we probably need around 100, right? To start with.
Okay.
But, you know, starting out as a new company, we don't have this big, huge sales team that's out there, you know, feeding us leads. And you know, it's kind of like we have to generate the leads, we have to qualify them, we have to get them into the sales cycle. And then, you know, it's a lot longer process when you're doing it by yourself. So, you know, we've kind of, again, gone through that and whittled it down to see what's working. We have a lead generator right now that she's great. All she does is pick up the phone, get the people interested in getting a demo, and then we go in and we help, you know, close the deal and answer their questions and give them a proposal.
Do you think it's from your experience through all of this? And I've known you, just so the audience knows, I've known Marshall for well over 30 years. And I've watched his career evolve, and say he's a great chef, but he's also a good salesperson. But I guess the question I would have for you is, do you think it's important from your point of view to have the CEO out selling his product or her product before they go and invest in a huge sales team? Or would you invest in a sales team before you have the knowledge around how you go to market? I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm personally, I'm the type of person that wants to go out and get my hands dirty, do it myself first, understand it. Like when I was a chef or a cook, I would go to each station and learn what every station's dishes were, how to prep them, how to execute them. And that way I knew what everybody's position was like. And then I can, from a supervisor standpoint, help them and coach them. You can't really coach somebody if you don't know what they're doing, in my opinion.